Hey guys, I've been evicted a few times in the last couple of weeks. It's been very confusing. My housemaid is a a dear friend, and her husband passed away 6 or 7 years ago, and she called me 3 years ago and said, I'm going to lose my house because she no longer, of course, had his income and can't get his Social Security. Social Security doesn't want to give it to her, of course. The government denying everybody what they're owed. So she asked me to move in and rent a room, which I did at that time 3 years ago. And I have the door open. It's too hot for me to. I should be doing this with the door closed, but hopefully fuck. Maybe I'll close the door. Anyway, she asked me to move from the group home that I lived in East San Jose to here, and to pay what turned out to be a lot more rent per month than I was. And I do, and I'm still doing it 3 years later. But then I yelled at her a few months ago, and I want you to remember that I did cause some of this by yelling at her. So I don't want to say entirely at fault, but in a major way I'm at fault for what's happening. So she told me to get out, so I was traumatized myself by the sudden eviction. I didn't expect it, even though I had yelled. So I went through a lot of trauma, threw away 75% of my stuff, and figured I'd be going back to living in a group home, which is having a bed in a room with 3 or 4 people, or 2 people, all of whom in the house are mentally ill. And I'm, of course, mentally ill, so I do qualify to live in such a place. So threw away 75% of my stuff, because when you live in a room in a mentally ill house, you only have the space under your bed as the storage. That's the only other place you have to put anything. So here I have a full bedroom plus a bathroom. So like I say, I threw away 75% of my stuff. And then the next day, the next day she did something which was both good and bad. She said, well, you can stay. I want you to stay. Now, she did that partly out of compassion. Nothing's black and white like Trump thinks it is. She did it partly out of compassion and partly because she still needs the money. So, make a long story short, she's gotten upset again in the last about a week or 2 ago. Oh, you're yelling at me again, which I did raise my voice, but I wasn't anything near what the first one was. So then the next day she said, you can stay again. So I feel like, okay, gonna get evicted at some point, but I don't know when, and I don't know whether I'll be taken back the next time. So I'm just gonna find a place somewhere that I can move to and just move, so that eventually she can't do that. And I caused it. I don't want to say I caused it, but I caused it. So now I'm doing another extra project, which is working with local housing and trying trying to find a job and God knows what else on top of my business and on top of my mental illness and on top of my new physical pain and on top of all the other goddamn shit I got going on. So, yeah, life is fairly, I mean, it's okay. I can put up with this amount of pressure and still get a few things done each day, but I'm pretty well messed up and demented and fucked up and don't do much of my business. I do a little business each day, whatever I can stand, and I research jobs each day, and I try to do something on learning about the housing culture here in Alameda County. Like I went to a meeting at the, what's it called, the, I don't know, Community Services something, Community Services Housing Consortium or something. Nice people. They have a nice little building where they do things for people during the day. They have some connections to housing. Wouldn't say that many, but some. So, just trying to get smarter about what housing might be available in case I need it. With an eye to maybe just plain moving if I ever get a match-up between the amount of money it takes and the amount of money that I have, which is thousands of dollars apart, of course. So, alright, that's more of a background. I'll give you more background today because I'm starting to wake up a little bit right now after being asleep a little bit today. So I'll probably make a few videos that are almost timeless that I can put out there once in a while. I do have 11 disabilities that I work with. 4 or 5 are mental, 2 or 3 are physical, 2 or 3 are disorders, not actual disabilities, and I forget what the others are. I've got them written down somewhere though, in a notebook, which I've probably already misplaced, so whatever. Alright kids, well, let me do part of it now and I'll repeat it later. So in the mental illness part, I've got 5 or 6 disabilities there, or diagnoses, but for years I have not been able to remember all 6, so I usually remember 4 or 5. So there's bipolar, clinical depression, disassociation, PTSD from having been raped and almost murdered and then almost murdered again. That's 4. General anxiety disorder. And there's always 1 or 2 that I forget, but that's at least 5. And then in the disorders thing, out of the 6, there's 6 disorders together. They're called recurring behavior disorders, and they have to do with picking your nose and stuff. There's 6 of them. So out of the 6 I have 2. 1 is picking my nose, 1 is picking scabs, and they're not called disabilities, they're called disorders. And then in the physical realm, so that's 2 more, that's what, 7. And then in physical realm I have a heart attack in 2014, which left 1 quadrant of my heart at 25% capacity. Number 2 is I have a recurring congestive heart failure. Number 3, I have arthritis like fucking crazy. Number 4, I have physical pain all over my body, which just started 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's different than the arthritis. So that's 4. So we had 6 and 4 is 10. And then I had something else here that I forgot, of course. some other physical. I got several other physical problems, but I just can't remember. Well, dementia, that's one. That's 11, but then there's more too as well. So that's 11. So, all right, kids, this is a video that we will post at least to YouTube anyway, so that it's out there. Not that anybody ever listens to them. All right, later.